Alrighty then, once again we're back wondering if it's working. Living in technological heaven known as Facebook. Alright, I'm just going to check to see this is showing up. Looks like something's happening. Alright, we'll crack into it. I'll go ahead and give myself a like. Did that work? It did not. Alright, well, thank you all to those of you who come and check it out live. Give you a little wave there. Yeah, right. And also to those of you who check out the recording later. I did some research and it turns out there is no time that is appropriate for everyone. So I'll just have to do it at a time that I prefer, and hopefully it matches some of you guys as well. But you can always watch the recording later. Alright, let's dive straight in. Enough foreplay. So today we're going to be covering a message I got from one of the group members here at Nice Guy Husbands. And I want to put it out there that if anybody else has deep dark questions you want answered, or you want to hear me rant about something, just flick me a message and it goes onto the wait list for these live streams. I'd much rather these live streams deal and tackle with issues that you guys actually have right now and want resolved, than for me to just make something up or bring up stories from my past, which I can do and I'm happy to do, and I'll probably do anyway when asking your questions. But yeah, don't hold back, you know, just get in touch and you can have your shit answered live. I'm just going to choke on my own spit for a second. Okay. I'm in the development of a group coaching program that's coming up. And I'll talk about that at the end of the live stream, so you can stick around for that or not. It's up to you. Cool. So today we've got a fun one. I think it's fun. It's not fun when you're in it, but it's fun to look at from the outside. And that is the kind of classic question that guys in relationships get from the women that they're with. Hetero relationships, I guess. Something along the lines of, am I fat? It can have a lot of delicious variations. Is my ass too big? Do I look fat in this dress? Am I putting on weight? And then it can expand out to other things, you know, do I still look pretty? You know, it's basically a question, do you find me attractive? That's what they're really asking. Or at least that's what I think they're really asking. They think they're actually asking if they're fat. So I'm going to read what I got sent through from one of the members, word for word, and then I'm going to tackle what he's asking here. Cool? Okay, here it is. My woman quite often asks how she looks like and if she is fat. She feels quite insecure about it. She struggles, you know, to stay in shape and stuff as she's getting older. She's got hormones and everything coming through. Lots of different diets and exercises, but it doesn't really help. There's some health problems as well that make a difference. She's about 46. The guy's about 49. And I have really no idea about what to answer. If I honestly say something like, well, you really added some weight, she put on about 10 kgs in the last 2 years, that would make her really unhappy. And if I don't want that, if I keep being silent, I just hug her, that makes her unhappy too. If I say something like, oh, I like you anyway, which is true, that makes her unhappy too. And if I answer, oh, you're still in good shape, which is not true, I just can't force myself to say it. So how do you connect true honesty with such questions? What I like is that this is actually a deeper question than just how do you say, you know, how do you answer the question, am I fat? The deep question is, how do I be honest when I know for certain my honest answer is going to hurt their feelings, right? And this is a tough question for all socializing. You know, sometimes you imagine that the honest truth is going to hurt people, and you're wrong about that. But sometimes you really know someone, or you've done it before. You've answered the question or given the feedback before, and it's gotten a really bad rap. And particularly when you've multiple times been honest about the same thing, and every single time it's gotten a bad reaction. You're not really imagining, hey, this might go badly. again. So, but I'll stick to the am I fat question because it's kind of like the fun one. But bear in mind, this is almost like a metaphor. We're talking about being honest when you just know the emotional answer. The emotional reaction is going to be what you'd call negative, and you're worried that will hurt your relationship with them. The main issue actually has occurred prior to the question being asked. Okay, this problem actually existed prior to the question. The question is just like, I call it flicking the match. There's a box of fireworks waiting to go off, and the question flicks the match into that fireworks. But here's the thing, the box of fireworks is in you, not in your partner. When she says, am I fat, she's flicking a match at you, and you're the one who explodes. Because you've trapped yourself with a belief that's very common to nice guys and just common to people in general, but certainly to nice guys, which is we must take responsibility for the way other people feel. Okay. Now, almost everyone except, sort of really callous or psychopathic people have a bit of this idea like, I've got to do something about myself to try not to harm others, to that cosmopolitan idea of just living in a harmonious world as best I can. So at least, even the most confident, least people-pleasing people have some consideration for other people's feelings as they take action. Nothing wrong with that, nothing unhealthy about that. With nice guys, it's much more down the other extreme end of the spectrum, which is how other people feel is my job to maintain. And I must maintain it in as narrow band of happy, comfortable emotions. So basically what a nice guy does prior to this question being asked is have a belief, it's my job to keep her happy. It's my job to make her love herself. It's my job to make her enjoy her life. It's my job to ensure that she feels this constant wave of pleasure, or at least not displeasure. It's my job to make sure I help her avoid emotions like pain, suffering, depression, low self-worth, frustration, confusion, basically any fucking emotion that exists other than happiness. Right? So when you get the question, am I fat, what you really feel like you're getting is a request to fix their emotional state. You're getting a request to say, she's basically saying, she's not saying, am I fat? She's saying, I feel bad about myself. Can you fix this? And that's how a nice guy perceives that question. It's how I perceived questions like that for most of my life. I no longer perceive them that way. So as soon as a question's asked, you're done for. Because you can't. Right? In a way, it can be true. You might actually be being asked to fix her. She might be throwing this at you, saying, please make me feel better about myself. And sometimes, maybe often, that is what they are doing. Not always, but sometimes. Sometimes they're just asking, do I look fat? I'm not sure. But a lot of time they're saying, I feel bad about myself. I'm going to throw this at you and see if your response changes that feeling. You're trapped because there is no good answer. As my man here identified when he sent through, everything he responds with that's honest and kind and compassionate and loving makes her unhappy. Well, he thinks it makes her unhappy like she went from happy to unhappy, like she wasn't already unhappy. And it's just noticeable now. And he thinks the only way he can make her happy is to lie, but he doesn't want to lie. He's, of course, assuming that lying would actually work. It doesn't. So, we feel trapped because there is no good answer, and that's the truth. No woman with body confidence will ask you this question. There is no woman on this planet, comfortable with her body, happy with who she is physically, who's going to ask you if she's too fat, if she's putting on weight. She doesn't need to ask you. She's got scales. She's got that measuring tape thing that's supposed to be used for sewing, but they use it to measure their waist and all that, their arms and stuff. She doesn't need your opinion on this. She can figure out the answer for herself. So why is she asking you? Well, because in a way that is what she's saying. She's saying, I have confidence issues. I don't like myself. And if I throw this at somebody else, maybe they'll be able to fix it for me. Maybe they'll be able to say or do something that relieves the suffering that I'm having, that comes from the conditioning that programs me to see probably quite a healthy level of natural body fat as some disgusting, unattractive thing that makes me a worse person. You know, now I've known a lot of women in my time who ask this type of question because they have this kind of belief, and the ones I've known deeply, you know, pretty much 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10, they were raised by a mother who criticized the way they look constantly. Some of them literally would specifically criticize their weight and the size of their body. Other times it's just picking at anything, you know, your eyebrows are too this, I can't believe you're going out in that dress, you're embarrassing me in public when you wear those shoes, so on. And so they've just, you know, been conditioned to think there's something wrong with the way I look, and it's somebody else's job to give me feedback on that, critique on that, and fix that for me. It's not just women who do this, by the way, obviously. But I'd say it's probably more so women where the physical appearance is the thing that's fixated on. Guys, it might be more like strength and machismo and skill, something in those areas that they get criticized and, you know, shit on for, being too emotional, so on. Women definitely specifically get the body thing a lot, and if they don't get it at home, they get it from social media, normal media, friends, TV, whatever, right? There's just this constant thing about girls supposed to look, you know, I don't need to go down that path. It's an old worn path. But no woman with body confidence issues is going to ask if she's too fat. And no answer is going to resolve her trauma. This is tip of the iceberg, this question, for a significant body confidence issue, which is still tip of the iceberg for a significant self-confidence issue. You think you've got an answer that's going to fix all that? You think there's some magical thing you can say that's going to undo all the years of trauma and bad parenting and peer criticism and bullying and media fucking conditioning? You think you got like a sentence that's going to correct all that? Like, if you do, please become a psychotherapist, because you will be the best one in the whole world. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing good you can say. And what I mean by that, there's nothing you can say that is going to give you a consistently happy reaction. And you've got to ask, why would you want that? Because the thing is, sometimes you can come up with something you say that gives them temporary relief. Lying might do that. You might say, oh, are you kidding me? Fuck, I think you've lost weight. You look fantastic. Blah, blah, blah. Right? You can do that. Which is usually a lie. Or even if it's true, they don't believe you. But that'll give them, what, a few minutes relief maybe? And then the voices are going to start in their head again. You know, but look at that big mole on your neck, and, you know, I can't believe your bangs are uneven. You've been walking around like that? You know, the voices that you can't hear in their head just constantly. And the thing is, if you actually make them happy with your answer, you're delaying their motivation to do something about this. Now, I don't mean do something like lose weight, but do something about their body confidence problems. So the problem is, quite often, the reason they ask this question is because sometimes they can get an answer that gives them a temporary relief so that they don't have to tackle this problem they've had their whole life, which is, why am I not happy with myself? And that requires real work, solving that problem. That requires therapy, it requires changing your belief system, it might require coaching. It requires a total overhaul. It might require them confronting their mother finally and saying, I fucking hated the way you talk to me. It's ruined the way I see myself. You know, there's a lot of ugly, uncomfortable work that needs to be done for someone, especially a woman, to be able to look in the mirror and go, that's fine the way it is. A lot of work that needs to be done. So much easier to just go to someone like, say something that makes me feel good about myself so I can have relief from this for 15 minutes. But that's the thing, if you want to motivate someone, you don't make them feel better. That doesn't motivate, that demotivates. Happiness isn't a motivational feeling. Happiness is actually quite the opposite. Happiness, you want to stay still when you're happy. Like, let's keep everything like this. This is nice. You know what motivates you? Frustration, guilt, fear, depression, anxiety. These are actually motivational sensations, but you have to feel them quite strongly before you'll move, before you overcome the fear of change, and the fear of staying the same is worse. If you keep relieving someone from that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling, they never get into it enough to have a crisis. To go, okay, fuck this, I need to do something about it. So let me turn the question back to you guys. You can comment below with your answers. What kind of thing would you say if your goal wasn't to make them happy, but your goal was actually to kind of push the wound a little bit, to help motivate them to do something about this? What kind of thing might you say? Now, we'll come to that, my opinion on that soon. But let's say you at least answer honestly. You say, yep, you've put on some weight. So, yeah, I can see what you're saying, you know. You ask me if your bum's getting a bit bigger. Obviously it is. Your pants are tighter. You can say, I genuinely don't give a shit. Like, I'm still attracted to you. But maybe you might need to say something else. Maybe like, yeah, honestly, I'm not as attracted to you. These are very harsh answers. If they seem like very harsh answers. But if nothing else, at least she knows you'll tell the truth. Which puts her in a position, and this is just general social skills, which is if somebody's going to ask for your opinion, they'll know that they're going to get it. Which is going to make them wonder, should I ask or not? See, when somebody knows that you're always going to try and placate them, and you're always going to give them compliments and always try and make them feel better, then they'll ask you shit like this all the time. Because you're like their drug. They're coming to you for a hit. But if they know, hey, if I ask him, he's going to fucking tell me, they might have to wonder, should I ask? Which will probably relieve the amount of questions. I don't get asked these kind of questions as much as I used to, because I used to just make people feel better every time. I was good at I had good lies to respond to these. I was good at redirecting. So, I don't know if you put on weight, but fucking your new hairstyle's amazing. It's so hot. I could do things like that. But it was a form of lying. At least with honesty, they'll trust you. And that means later when you do give them compliments, they'll believe them. See, what you'll find is a common problem. The kind of guy who answers a fair, like, no, you look great, blah, blah, blah. And she knows he's lying because her pants are tighter, right? He's not, that blind. When he later says, like, oh, you look so beautiful tonight, he always says shit like that. How am I supposed to know, right? So if you want her to be able to believe your compliments, she has to hear the criticisms. Right? It doesn't mean you go and be critical, but if she's going to ask the question, give the answer, right? I don't stand there criticizing my wife with every little flaw I can think of to notice. But if she asks me a question, I give her an answer. And if she doesn't want that answer, she shouldn't ask the question. But I'm going to give you the best answer. It's to break a common rule, which is you answer a question with a question. Now, I don't like questions. In certain contexts, I don't like questions. I made a video about this, and comment below if you want to see the video about why you shouldn't ask questions. But generally, questions are manipulative. You're forcing an answer out of somebody. You're putting them in a situation where it's very uncomfortable not to give you information. It's very manipulative questioning. And so I think it's unfair when people ask me questions like this, And so I won't get pulled into it. I refuse to play this game. I refuse to be your source of confidence. Because that disables you as well as annoys me. Like, you should learn to get your own confidence. Don't come and get it from me. Of course, in the personal context and coaching, there's heaps of questions all the time. That's fine. But it's all about context. So if someone's going to ask me a shitty question, I'm going to respond with a shitty question. For their own benefit, not out of vengeance, but it does relieve the pressure off me. And the best answer, I think, to am I getting fat is, why do you ask? That's how I would respond. I would respond with exploration into where this question's coming from, rather than answering it. If they say, just tell me, I say, no, I don't want to answer a question like that. I fucking hate questions like that. Why are you making me the person who's supposed to make you feel good? Why? Why are you asking me this question? Huh? Why are you not going to a nutritionist and a PT? Why are you not going to a therapist and saying, why don't I like my body? Why are you asking me to fill that space for you? Right? Now, it doesn't have to come across that harsh. But it depends, in the situation the guy brought up, it sounds like he's being fucking barraged with this kind of shit all the time. He's been put in a position to hold her self-esteem up. That's a very unfair position. And very unhelpful. It's not going to help her for him to be that person in her life. When you're the partner, you're not the coach. You're not the therapist. And you're not the source of their happiness, as much as they might want you to be. Okay? You're their partner. You're beside them as they go on their journey. But you're not the one making the journey happen. Okay? You're the cheerleader, the encourager. Now, cheerleading and encouraging doesn't mean making them feel better. It means nudging them towards the direction you know is best for them. The direction they know is best for them. Someone asks, am I too fat? And why don't you talk to a therapist about your body confidence issues? Why don't you finally deal with this properly? Worst case scenario, you say something like, stop asking me that question. I'll give you the truthful answer if you want it, but what you're really saying is that you have confidence issues and I'm not your therapist. Don't put me in that position, and I won't put you in that position either. Now, if you want to actually work on these confidence issues you've got, I'll be beside you. I'll help you find a therapist or a coach or a program or whatever. I'll do the research with you and we'll find someone together who can help you with this so you can finally break free of this fucking self-hatred. Something very powerful you can say, if it's true, is actually the only thing that's unattractive is you not loving your body. Right? You want to be more attractive to me? Find a way to love yourself. That's hot. And it is. I notice there might be one or two women watching this. By the way, if you want to know what's hot, is a girl who loves her own body. And it doesn't matter what that body is. Really. We often think like, oh, those girls in the magazines, that's what guys want girls to look like. Not exactly. It's just those girls in the magazines, they seem to really be confident in themselves. The way they hold their body, the sultry, sexy poses and facial expressions gives this impression like, I like this shit. And the thing is, a woman of basically any shape or size can do that and get away with it, and it is hot. Not all guys feel the same way. But put it this way. In my old life, I visited the odd strip club or two. It wasn't actually a thing I was that into, but it happened. Usually with events, stag do, stuff like that. And the hottest stripper in the place was not the most athletic one. It was the most confident one. Really. And she could look anything. She could be the least aesthetic girl there. But that all gets overridden by the confidence, by the certainty in herself, the certainty that she's sexy, right? So the best thing you can do is to help, encourage, support, and nudge your woman towards the kind of work she needs to do to feel like that about herself, which actually probably requires almost no physical development. She doesn't need to exercise more, eat better. She needs to see herself differently. It's actually the shortcut. Right. So anyway, those are my thoughts on how to answer that question. If you came here thinking there was some quick, easy answer, sorry about that. There isn't one. Now I'm going to talk a bit about the program coming up, so if you're not interested in that, you can sign off now. It's still in development, and I want to start with thanking all the people who have completed the survey that I sent out to a few chosen individuals to give me feedback on what this program should be about and how to tackle your issues as best as possible. I'll basically design the program based on the answers to that survey. And put it out there right now, if anybody wants to be considered for the first round for this program, which will be by invitation only, let me know in the comments below. You can just say respect, or you can message me personally, and I will send you the survey. It's only people who have done the survey that will be eligible for the program. Just to let you know, so it's basically a new style of coaching program I'm doing that's going to be a mixture of like teaching content that's filmed and recorded, and you watch at your own time with exercises and homework, combined with group coaching where I actually coach people live and everybody is part of the group. The program's called Respect because that's the result it will be delivering. Right? It's a program that will last about 8 weeks, and it's going to get you to a place where you respect yourself in the relationship and your partner respects you. Okay. Now we can't guarantee that the partner does anything, but if you do what's in this program, you're going to have the best possible chance of being respected. Not just by your partner, but by workmates, friends, total strangers. We're going to be looking at essentially a focus on being confrontational in the healthiest and most effective way possible. Being able to speak powerfully and being emotionally shameless, as well as looking at how you react or how you respond to their reactions once you do stand up for yourself and once you do sort of lay down the law with respect. How to, not take things personally, and how to interpret what I call artistic language, which is my term for feminine communication style. By feminine, I don't necessarily mean girl, because there are feminine guys, and masculine girls. But by feminine, I mean the artistic language where it's not what they're literally saying. There is a kind of subtext. All right. So we're going to start with emotionally shameless. We're going to look at how there's no such thing as bad feelings. We're going to learn how to be shameless about all emotions, have no wrong attached to your emotions. And we're going to look at how to practically express feelings in a simple way so that you never hold anything in. It always comes out, but it comes up in a healthy way that doesn't provoke conflict. Okay. Then we're going to develop powerful communication skills. So we're going to look at what's called responsible language. So it's how to speak about what bothers you and what you want in a way that you take total ownership of, and you're not placing that burden on other people or your partner. And then we're going to look at how to be more bold and concise. So how to speak in a way that's just easy to respect. Right? Speak in a powerful leader type way. Speak with balls, essentially. There's techniques, very simple techniques that I'm going to be teaching there. And then we're going to move into the more advanced confrontations specifically. So we're going to look at how to make sure somebody's always aware of what you prefer, what you want, what you dislike, what you don't want. So there's never any guesswork. And then I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide for setting very effective boundaries. So very, very practical course we're talking about here, where you can go out with like a template and notes and bullet points and follow these step-by-step until it becomes natural for you. Now nothing's going to be inauthentic. There'll be no lies, no scripts. They'll all be your own thoughts and feelings and truths, but structured in such a way that it gets the best possible response and makes you as understandable and succinct as possible. And then, then we'll look at how to react once they react, how to respond to their reaction, so that the ongoing conversation goes as well as possible. And, you respect them as well as they're respecting you. So if you're interested in that program, all you got to do is get in touch, and I will send you the survey form to fill out. It'll give me more information about you and help me hone the program even further to make sure it's suited to your needs and delivers what it promises. But also make sure if you're right for the program, because it's a very specific program for guys in long-term relationships who want more respect. So we have to make sure that this is right for you. So if you're interested in that, please get in touch. Comments, messages, any way you choose, and I'll get that information to you. Thank you so much to those of you who showed up live. I hope you enjoyed it, to the people who watched the recording, and I'll see you all next week for the next one, which I don't know what it's going to be, but if you've got a topic in mind, send it through. Alrighty, cheers guys.